bring up the guys who booked me, and just give them a round of applause. Bye, and I left. But I've had some of those turns. The last one I remember, I had did a corporate gig for it was Ronnie Lott, the San Francisco 49, the Hall of Fame round of football. But he did like a charity golf, or it was like a celebrity golf thing every year or something like that, and had me come up for that. And I was at a country club. It was open air, outdoor, and that was long story short, I ended up crying in front of Marcus Allen. So it was it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was So
that was your last one,
One of those things that really shows you, especially in comedy, it's like it doesn't really matter where you think you are as far as, all right, I'm a grown up now. I've gotten past certain stages of my career, and you are not above eating shit in front of a crowd of strangers and then crying in front of a Hall of Famer. So,
oh, man.
It was a tough night, man. It's a tough night.
How long ago was this?
2015.
2015?
Yeah,
okay.
So not long enough to go, remember back then? No, it was recent. I was an adult. It was...
it's a grown-ass man crying.
I was past the age where that would be acceptable, so... yeah, fucking nightmare.
That's something you do in like the first couple of years of your career.
Yeah. And even then, it's like, it's embarrassing, but at least you have an excuse, like, wow, I was still growing, but I had grown at that point. I had done a couple of specials. I had been on TV, and none of those people gave a shit. But they, it was a situation that was like, it just wasn't conducive for comedy. It was like one of those things where, they had somebody who was responsible for booking entertainment for the show, and that person was a big fan of mine. Yeah. And I remember she and her husband or boyfriend, whatever, they loved my stuff. But it was like, this black tie affair basically is what it was, because it was like a charity dinner. And, they did a dinner, they did an auction, and then after the auction, I come up and... I just remember, because I remember Ronnie Lott was a really nice guy, and he asked me to have like dinner at his table before the show, which I never do. But I was like, I didn't want to refuse it, because I was like, well, he's a hero of mine. I was like, wow, he's invited me to have dinner with him, and I sat there and had dinner with him, and I remember I tried to dress better than I usually do which basically mean I had a shirt with buttons. And
okay, nice. All
right, I brought out the buttons. Well, I'm getting fancy.
That's my fancy too. So don't worry.
And I think my opening line that I got on stage and I said, I was like, the sad thing is I'm the worst dressed person here, and this is the best outfit I own. And I got crickets, and I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna suck. And it was rough. It was rough anyway. And then, I felt like it took maybe 10 minutes. I felt like I finally got like sort of a core group of people who were, into it. Rest of the people in the back of the room were kind of doing, they were talking amongst themselves, getting food, whatever. And, I had this sort of core group listening to me. I was like, all right, I'll ride it out with them. Mm-hmm. And then some drunk trust fund douche from Ireland in the back starts heckling me. He just starts yelling, "You suck! Get off the stage!" And I tried to ignore him the first couple of times, but then it just started again. He's like, "You suck! Get off the stage!" And I went, "Don't you think I would if I could?" I said, "I'm getting paid to be here. Do you think I came for the warm fucking reception?" And I'm saying this, and right after I said that, I look and there's a 12-year-old girl right here. I'm like, shit, this is awful. And so I proceed to get into because instincts took over. Because I'm used to being in a comedy club where it's like somebody throws a glass at me, I tell it suck my balls, and we're
absolutely
done. So I'm doing that there, but it doesn't work as well. For me in that setting, because it was like they basically treated it like, because this guy was like, he was a drunk mess, but he was also he was a donor to their charity, whatever. He literally was like, I think he owned a winery or a vineyard or something over in Europe that, they inherited or some shit. Like they had warned me about him even before the show. And he was just, so I remember like they were like, I remember some guy coming up and giving me the light. Like he just kept like giving me, and I'm like, I finally snapped at him. I'm like, dude, I see the light. You're 6 feet away from me. Can I get off stage under my own power instead of when that guy tells me to get off stage? Like, can you at least give me that dignity? And I mean, I'm literally having a meltdown in front of these people because it's like, because that's what comedy is really. You're just up there bearing your soul.
Yeah.
And that's why it just doesn't fit for that setting.
Yeah.
My comedy fits when you come to a comedy club, a theater, whatever that you recognize when you come in the door, like you're coming into a sort of a house of comedy sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Instead of having me come to fuck up your charity dinner. And that's what it was.
Would you even say any kind of comedy would fit that kind of setting?
I can't say no because, they had other comics successfully do it in years past. So it's just,
What do they tell?
Yeah.
What kind of jokes are those?
Crowd work, comics who do crowd work, maybe comics who do, who have, whether they do, whether it's magic or they have ventriloquism.
That makes sense,
stuff that's more easily palatable for that setting.
Like children's comedy.
Right, basically, it's a little easier, but it is. It's just more of a.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a dick.
And I'm not. Yeah, right. It's just it is kind of it's
a little more PG.
It's safer, is what it is. And what I do isn't. It's safe. Just not. It's not. It's more and it's more about me than it is about So that's what I mean. It just doesn't really fit in that scenario. So. Mm-hmm. I ended up getting off stage, maybe I did 15 minutes and I was supposed to do 45 and I get off and I remember I just beelined it for back where that dude was. Cause I'm like, I got to go have words with this dude. And I mean, I rolled up on the wrong guy. Shit. And when I'm some dude, I'm like, hey, what the fuck? He's like, you were good. Yeah.
I really enjoyed your set.
Yeah, well, thanks. And I'm like, what were you? And then the dude pops up, is like, it was me. And I go over and I see, and he fit the profile when he was the drunk mess who'd been heckling me. And I started trying to go, what? I'm doing my job, man. Why are you fucking with me? And he's like, hey, I'm just trying to give you some help, man. And I'm like, and I realized it was at that point, I was like, it's useless trying to communicate with this guy. He's a fuck up. And I just realized, like, all right, I got to either hit this dude or leave. And I wasn't going to hit him. So I walked out. So I and I'm like, I'm the type, it's like when I get upset about something like that, it's like mucus attacks my face. I can feel a tear like bubbling. I'm like, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just walking to the shuttle bus.
You get so angry, you feel like you gotta cry.
And it's just one of those things. And I'm like getting ready to, I see a shuttle bus to take me back to the hotel, start to get on it. Right as I'm getting on it, somebody yells like, John, wait, Marcus wants to talk to you. And I'm like, and I was like, fuck. I turned around, I see Marcus, and I'm like, oh, God damn it. That's the first thing I said. Oh, God damn it. Marcus, I think you're a great player. But I don't want to. I remember him saying like, hey, I just want to tell you, I thought you were really good. And I was like, shut the fuck up. And the worst thing was he was saying, he's like, hey, next time a guy like that bothers you, just say, hey, if I want to hear an asshole, I'll fart. And
he's cracked a bad joke.
The worst thing is I wasn't in any position to go, Marcus, I'll write the jokes. Thank you. Because I had just fucking eating shit in front of everybody.
At that point, you didn't want to hear it.
So maybe I could stand to get some material from a former running back. So
somebody that you looked up to was really patting you on the back.
Well, he was just trying to be supportive. There's nobody who would have thought.
Is this when you cried?
Good. So, it was like, it was bubbling.
In the moment.
So it was like if anybody talked to me or tried to talk to me there, the bubble would pop, and that's what happened. So I'm like, so I got.
It was almost one of those, like, you didn't care who he was, you didn't want to hear it.
It wasn't so much, but it was just even more embarrassing to think like, wow, this is
one of my heroes.
I remember the '82 playoffs when you destroyed the Browns, and I'm like, oh fuck, now I'm crying in front of you. I probably cried from that game, but man, at least you didn't see it. And fuck, terrible.
So like when you